Welcome to this Halloween special video. In this video we're going to be learning how to add background music and sound effects to our game. Right here I have a little sample scene set up with there's a few little scenes, a few characters like a zombie, a pumpkin, a scarecrow, and a skeleton. These assets can be found here. This is a horror soundtrack that I have downloaded, which is one of the assets that I have downloaded. The other asset that I have downloaded is this pixel art game asset so that I can just import this into my scene and make it look like a Halloween themed. I'm using this scene right here. This scene right here, we are going to be adding a few types of music for them. To this scene, I will have the music files linked in the description if you only want to download them. These music files are these I will be using right here, and we are just going to be creating just that. So what we're going to first do is inside of our hierarchy, we're going to right click, create an empty, and we're going to name it our audio manager. Inside this audio manager, this is where all of our audio is going to come from. If you go into our main camera, you can see that there's an audio listener. This just listens for all audio that should be playing and plays it from the camera. You're allowed to change if the audio should be played in a 2D or 3D way, and since we're in a 2D game right here, it doesn't really mean anything, but in a 3D it can just tell how far away the music should sound or not. Inside this audio manager, we're going to create an empty underneath it, and this one's going to be called, we can name this background music, and this is going to be the background music source. We're going to make another thing. This is going to be the sound effect music source, so that these are both playing, so we're going to be able to play sound effects and background music at the same time. To both of these game objects, so if we just highlight both of them, we're going to add an audio source to both of these things. Use audio source. There's a lot of things that you can add in audio, but an audio source, there's a few things that you can do. The first is the audio clip, which is the thing that can play. You can set this also in code, we will be doing. You can do a lot of things here. This output is the audio mixer group, and it's just going to output from the main camera so we can hear it on our speakers. Mute and then bypass effect. These are all just different things that will play for the music that we're going to be listening to. For the background music, we can deselect play on awake for both of these because we're going to play on in our scripts, but for the background music we're going to click loop just because so it can loop. You're also allowed to change the priority, the volume, pitch, and then these things are also for just music, but these you would use mostly if you're just creating simple background music. 3D sound settings, you're allowed to change where this sound is coming from and how, if it is played in a 3D way, which can make it sound different, and whether you're playing in a 3D game or 2D game. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to create a script to manage all of our sounds. So we can right click in our console, create a C# script, and we will name this our audio manager. We'll be able to add this to our audio manager script or our audio manager game object once we have this opened. Once we're in our script here, up here at the top where it has all of these using namespaces, we can add another one. This will be using Unity Engine.audio. So we are able to access different sound aspects inside of Unity. Inside of this audio manager, we're going to create a few different things. The first thing, it's going to be a public audio source, and this is going to be the BG music source. This is going to be the source for all of our background music. We can have another audio source, but this one is going to be the sound effects music source. You can see here that I'm just typing SFX to shorten sound effects. And then these two things are going to be sources for the sound effects that and background music that we're going to be using. We're going to create another public. This is going to be an audio clip instead, so this is going to be the actual audio file. And then this is going to be the BG music. This is going to be the background music. Again, we're going to create a public, but this time we're going to create a list of audio clips, and this is going to be our SFX music. Or to make it known that it's a list, we can type SFX list. So this will be our sound effects list. So this is how we are able to add more than one sound effect to be able to play. So what we're going to do inside of start, because we want our sound effects playing all the time, we're going to get our BG music source dot clip, and we're going to set this equal to our BG music. Inside of the inspector, this is just the thing that we'll be playing, and we need to set this before we play it, because if we play it with no clip inside of it, it won't play anything. So this clip is this audio clip right here. So then we can do our BG music source dot play, and that's just a method that you can call and it will play. And that's all the things we want inside of start. Inside of update, we're going to add something that'll play music, that'll play our sound effects at a random time. Since this is a Halloween themed video, I have crow sound effects that will play, and that the crow sound effects will play at a random time. So we're going to need a few more variables. The first one, we can make all of these variables private. We're going to need a private float, and this is going to be the minimum wait time. We're going to make another one of those, a private float max wait time. We're going to need another private float. This is going to be current time on. This is just the timer that will count down, and then once it gets to -0, it will be able to play our sound effects. So inside of update, we can go if not our sound effects music source dot is playing. So this is checking if we are not playing any music. So if we're playing a music, we're going to have to get out of this, because we're not going to want to do anything. We're not going to, if it's playing, we're not going to want to play another crow sound effect on top of that. We're going to want another if statement. This one's going to be checking if our current time on is less than 0. So if our timer that's counting down to see if we can play is less than 0, we're going to want to play a sound. So what we will do is we can get another variable. This one is going to be a private audio clip. This is going to be our SFX clip. This is going to be the clip that will play, but we're not going to set in the inspector since it's going to be random. We are going to set our SFX clip here, down here, and we're going to set this equal to a random.range, and here we're going to do 0, and then it's SFX list.count. So we're going to set a clip. This is going to get us a number right here, and it's going to set to into our SFX clip. But we're just going to create another variable right here that is instead of this SFX clip. So we can create an integer, and this will be our clip number will be equal to this. And then our SFX clip, our actual clip, will be set to our SFX list at the position of our clip number, so that we don't have to set an actual number to play. And then here we will set our SFX music source dot clip, and we'll set this equal to our sound effects clip. And then finally we will play the music from our sound effect music source. But we are not done yet, because if our current timer is not at there, then, or once after we do this, we're going to want our timer to go back to a random number so that we can start this all over again. So we're going to set our current time on. We're going to set this equal to a random.range, and this random.range will be between our minimum wait time and our maximum wait time. And then we're going to have to set those up in here. So I can set my minimum wait time to something like 1.5, so my sound doesn't play right after it plays before. I'm going to set my maximum wait time to something like 7, so it can wait a little bit before the sound plays again. So once we do this, we're not going to want the sound to play right again, so we're going to have an else statement. So if our current time is not less than 0, so if it had just gone through this process, what we're going to do is we're going to take our time currently on and we're going to subtract it. So we're going to do minus equal time dot delta time. And this is just going to take a little bit off of our timer every frame that this game is running. So every frame it will go down a little bit, and once it gets to 0, it'll play this again and then do this so it gets another time. So now that once we have this finished, we can go back into our Unity game. And once we're back inside of our Unity game, we can go to our audio manager and add our audio manager script to it. It's going to be looking for a few things. It's going to first look for our background music source. We can drag that in. Our sound effects music source, we can drag that in. It's going to look for our background music. So inside of our music, I just have this one. Our sound effects list, I'm just going to drag in my 2 crow sounds because this is a Halloween themed video. And you might have noticed that I have this little wind sound right here, and that's just going to be another background source. So what I can do is I'm going to right click on my audio manager, create empty, and this is going to be BG Music 2, just for the second background music. I'm going to add an audio source to it. And then just so we don't have to do this own code, I'm going to click keep play on awake checked and click loop. So that's checked. I'm going to drag in wind. So this just plays on awake and it has loop. And then now I'm going to click play, and then we can take a listen to see if our sounds are playing. I think that's a very nice creepy sound for this little scene that I have right here. Thank you for following along through this tutorial. If you like this tutorial, please give our channel a like and a subscribe because it really helps out a ton. Thank you.